Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Lambo channel. One of my very favorite chart analysts out there says that it's about time for the next impulsive move up in the world of crypto to be led by Bitcoin. And I'll tell you that right now, XRP is doing exactly what we should be wanting it to do and what we should be expecting it to do based on historic precedent. And mind you, last market cycle, we did see XRP make an impulsive move up in price about 5 months before it hit its cycle top in 2021, which was then about $2. And because mind you, so when did it start? About 20 something cents in October of 2020, right? And then in a matter of a week or two, whatever it was, shot up to around 80 cents. And this is before all the SEC nonsense. But it had that impulsive move to the upside in 2020. And even despite the SEC nonsense, 5 months later, we still saw XRP hit about $2. So there is a lot of historic precedent for this. And I mentioned this in a video yesterday, but the same was true in 2017. You know, you saw XRP move from about half a penny up to over 40 cents, then back down in the cycle to, it was ranging 15 to 20 cents, whatever it was around there for about half a freaking year. And then it went on that face-melting rally to over $4. So there's certainly precedent for this to have an impulsive move before we hit the new all-time high. So if that's the case, this is why so many analysts that have been tracking XRP are saying it's absolutely plausible, perhaps even this year, that we see a major move for XRP above $1. And as is always the case, it only feels impossible until suddenly it happens, then everyone's like, oh yeah, of course it's going to happen. No, I'm not going to forget about the negativity right now, okay? Because there's so many people that are negative on XRP, long-term holders, and I get people are impatient, and I have a certain amount of sympathy, but come on, just let the data sink in and take in the historic precedent. Everything's fine. But on top of that, I'll mention this too. There have been major inflows to the crypto asset class this week. And that's, by the way, despite the fact that Bitcoin has been mostly just trading sideways. So this includes an increase in the total value of all stablecoins, which, by the way, I'll mention this too, comes after a consistent decline for a year and a half straight. And now you're seeing an increase, and it looks like December is going to be the second month in a row with an increase. And still, that month has to end to know for sure, but that's what it's looking like. Well, that's one heck of a bullish indicator, don't you think? This thing's gonna go, son. Like, that's my suspicion at this point. But before going further, I do want to be clear. I do not have a financial background of any kind. I am not offering financial advice, and you definitely should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. I'm just an enthusiast who enjoys making YouTube videos about crypto-related topics, but just as a hobby and just for fun. I want to share with you a post from chart analyst Credible Crypto. This is the guy that I was referencing at the very outset of the video. One of my favorite analysts out there. He shared this Bitcoin USD chart in some perspective just this morning, December 17th. And this is a chart, Bitcoin USD, going back to August. So chart starts right before things really bottomed out, and then we have had the fun incline in terms of price action for the last few months. But here's what he had to say. Because again, we've been consolidating for most of the last week. It's mostly been sideways price action, but holding above $40,000 so far anyway, right? So he said the following. 1 month and $6,000 later, and Bitcoin price action is progressing beautifully. Now wrapping up a fourth wave consolidation above $40,000 in preparation for the next impulsive move up to $60,000 plus. And so I'll pause to note here, he was talking about this within the last week and a half. I can't remember exactly when, but very recently. And he said, look, based on how things have progressed, and I don't want to get into I don't like to regurgitate TA, but he did note that based on the way things were progressing, he didn't think that Bitcoin was just going to run up to close to $50,000 and then just have a correction back to the downside. Based on the price action that he's seen, he thinks that we're just going to melt through that. To the point where we're going to see $60,000. That'll be the next notable resistance level. And then he says, structure is incredibly clean, and while this fourth wave can technically wick under $40,000 without causing any structural damage, I don't expect it will. Well, that'll be interesting. And can you imagine what... Like, I understand on the biggest of days, it's just like those are frequently just Bitcoin days, and then even if there's some green for altcoins, it's mostly not noticeable. But then it comes. Bitcoin does its thing, money still rotates, and if you're talking about Bitcoin blasting up from where it is now, not quite 50%, but pretty damn close, getting ever getting ever closer to its all-time high, close to 70 grand. Altcoins they're going to go freaking ballistic. And that's why everybody prejudging, XRP's success based on where it's at right now. I'm like, my God, you guys just got to zoom out. Some of y'all. Things are looking pretty damn good. I've never been this excited to be in crypto, and I literally mean that. And yes, on a personal level, like for me, obviously, I've had many years to be positioning myself, but then XRP is my largest position. It's got the legal clarity, all that. But in terms of what's reasonable to suspect at this point, like what isn't aligned in the world of crypto? I mean, you got stocks popping, and for XRP, Bitcoin's been leading the way. As long as that keeps going, why wouldn't we expect a new all-time high for XRP finally? Here's a post from Bitcoin Magazine. They shared this video clip from the CEO of VanEck, which is a major investment firm in the world of crypto. They've got, I think, something like $76 billion in assets under management. He was on CNBC, and he just noted, quote, all-time highs in the next 12 months, end quote, referencing Bitcoin, which again is what we want to see. Even if you don't hold Bitcoin, maybe you're like me and you hold it and you're just not excited about Bitcoin, you just do it, for the sake of diversification, whatever your reasons are. We need it to continue to lead the way, and there's broad expectation that this is what's going to happen. And this isn't just some sort of one-off incident. In fact, this is why I love tracking additional data points here. And there was perspective shared the other day by Cointelegraph. This was an article written by Rakesh Upadhyay, and I want to cover just a top part. It's kind of broad analysis. But he said, Bitcoin's rally has been taking a breather for the past few days, but its strong rally in 2023 has not gone unnoticed. A survey of United States financial services companies by crypto firm Paxos showed that 99% of the firms were putting as much or more focus on crypto projects this year as compared to previous years. Analysts are increasingly bullish on Bitcoin and the crypto space in 2024. Bitwise senior research analyst Ryan Rasmussen made 10 predictions for the crypto industry in 2024 in an X post, formerly Twitter, on December 13th, and he believes Bitcoin will soar to $80,000 in 2024, and more money will be used to settle using stablecoins, he goes on to note. And so I don't pretend to know where Bitcoin's going to top or if it's going to top in 2024 or 2025. But kind of the cool thing is, even if people are expecting Bitcoin to go way higher than it ultimately does, we had that happen last cycle too, didn't we? We had that happen in the cycle before that. I mean, for those of you that were here in 2017, you may recall that when Bitcoin was hitting its all-time high then of about $20,000, there were calls for it to go to over $50,000 and ultimately over $100,000, and we were just getting started. And that obviously was not true. And then last market cycle in 2021, oh man, 70,000, you just wait. We're going to be at 100,000, 150,000. So people are notoriously bad at picking tops, most analysts anyway, right? But the cool thing for we as XRP holders is there's no magic number for Bitcoin. It has to hit $100,000 for XRP to hit a new all-time high. No, it just needs to hit a new all-time high. Because XRP's never hit a new all-time high without Bitcoin doing that first. So whether that's 80,000 or 90,000 or 100,000, whatever the hell it is, I kind of don't give a damn. And if it's not high enough for me to feel sufficiently enticed, then maybe I don't sell my Bitcoin. I mean, it depends on how high it gets. I mean, if it gets a bit over $100,000, I'll start to feel pretty damn enticed. But for my XRP, I've been pretty forward about this and pretty open about this. I'm looking to make the vast majority of my crypto wealth from my altcoins and specifically XRP, my largest individual crypto holding. Take a look at this. There is a perspective shared by chart analyst Greg Crypto, and he shared this chart, just a crypto total market cap excluding Bitcoin, so altcoin chart here. And he wrote the following: altcoins break of structure. Altcoins have shattered the structure, firmly resisting a flip to support. The breakthrough occurred in the last weekly candle, and we're now in the critical retest phase, anticipating a Fib 0.5 move potentially within a single weekly candle. All right, so I will pause to note here that would bring altcoins up to what here? He's saying about for point. So what? 858 billion in market cap, and at the time he posted this, which by the way was today, it was this morning early in the AM. At the time that he posted, $722 billion. So you're talking about an increase from 722 billion for alts up to 858 billion. And see, this is why like, the real fun and the real opportunity for life-changing wealth, it's in altcoins. There's a reason that so many of us, especially in the XRP community, are not as excited about Bitcoin. I'm pro Bitcoin. I'm going to continue to hold it until I'm sufficiently enticed to sell. I don't get that excited. It doesn't really light my fire. You know what I'm saying? But then he said here, Fib 702, so that would be, let's see, $1.137 trillion. So he thinks that, well, so that could be, let me just read what he wrote here. I think they said next. Bulls, time to flex those muscles and put in the effort. So not only does he think that's plausible, but considering that last market cycle, alts got to a peak of $1.72 trillion, he personally believes that we could see 2.3 times that for this cycle. So you're talking about, as he says here, what, 3.36 trillion. Wouldn't mind seeing that. Now, I wanted to mention something here, though, because, you know, at the time I'm recording this, so the all-time high, mind you this, the all-time high for altcoins, again, was $1.72 trillion. At the time I'm recording this, altcoins currently have a market cap of a little shy of $800 billion. So, you know, you might think that, you know, this means there's really not much opportunity left. I mean, after all, you know, we'll hit that all-time high, you know, the 1.72 trillion with a mere 2x, roughly speaking. And so even if you go 2.3x above that, is that really that much of a move to the upside? Is it really that big? And so, you know, how much of an upside even for altcoins could there actually be? You know, and this is an incorrect way of looking at the situation, though. And why? Because altcoins don't literally pop off all at exactly the same time. Some altcoins pop, and, you know, many people will sell the highs, and that money, that profit, then rotates to other coins that haven't popped off yet. So, you know, money is going to be flowing through the entire crypto space like freaking crazy. But I mean, if you just consider, I don't know if anybody's ever put this together, but if you just consider whatever the all-time highs will be once this cycle's done, if you go back and look whatever the all-time highs would be for every single coin, at their peaks it would be worth way more than $3.36 trillion. I wouldn't be surprised if it's well over $10 trillion. I mean, somebody should run those numbers. It would just be interesting to see. But concurrently, I mean, that's not all going to be at the same time, no. But that's the reason there's so much opportunity here. And it's going to be fun. And I'm not going to be overly greedy. It's just when stuff starts popping, I fully intend to be selling all sorts of stuff this market cycle. And I've never cashed out into United States dollars before because I am truly a long-term crypto holder because I firmly believe in this space. And I've certainly been right to this point. It's not a perfect process. Things can get messy, but for me, I just don't worry about it. I just buy stuff and I sit there and I hold, and that's that. And it works. I knew it worked when it came to the stock market, so I took the same approach jumping into crypto over 6 years ago. And what do you know? The stuff that I bought, especially back then, is worth, broadly speaking, infinitely more than it is today. Or than it was back then, rather. I said that backwards. And then take a look at this. Okay, so there's this headline from the Daily Hodl. Stablecoin market cap flashing positive sign for crypto liquidity, according to analytics firm Into the Block. Prominent analytics firm Into the Block says the market capitalization of all stablecoins is on the rise, signaling an increase in the buying power of crypto market participants. The total value of all stablecoins looks primed to rise in December for the second month in a row after declining for a year and a half straight, which Into the Block says is a positive sign for crypto liquidity. Into the Block also looks at Bitcoin's exchange net flows, which tracks the Bitcoin moving in and out of centralized crypto exchanges by subtracting the amount of a coin's withdrawals from its deposits. Bitcoin recorded $860 million worth of net inflows into exchanges this week, the largest number in 9 months, according to the analytics firm. So, my friends, think about that. Despite the sideways price action, what are people doing? So again, it's just one more metric you can look at. There's no smoking gun when it comes to analysis of the crypto space. You can look at all sorts of things, fundamental analysis, technical analysis, the socials, all sorts of stuff. What's happening in the macro environment, just broadly speaking, and see how does that impact crypto. So there's a lot of things that you can look at here. So this is just one more thing. But isn't that fascinating? 860 million worth of net inflows into exchanges this week, the largest number in 9 months, according to the analytics firm. And I also do recognize that sometimes when you're talking about massive inflows into exchanges, depending on specifics, it can at times mean that people are just about to sell. But you just gotta kind of wonder here, like, even if some people do sell down to what? If you've been following what's been happening even for the last week here, according to many analysts, Credible Crypto being one of them, of course, a lot of signs of strength here. So to what degree? And then you kind of wonder with the stable coins, is it just dry powder and people are waiting to purchase, snatch stuff up? I mean, and obviously people have been doing that. I mean, look at what's been happening the last few months. This is not new. It's just that what I'm getting at is we keep going that direction. That's why this is fun as hell. Like, this is the most exciting. These are the most fun times. And then this is what it was when I jumped into crypto in 2017. Weird time to jump in, right? As that crazy euphoric bull run was going on. So it was fun, and it was just like this in late 2020 going into 2021, and here we are years later, and it looks and feels very similar. It just does, right? If you guys have been here for at least one previous cycle, you got to acknowledge it. It feels the same, right? And it's not just about feelings. I know that's stupid. I'm more about logic and data, but all of it coming together. I think we have so much to look forward to in 2024. This is going to be a blasty blast, my friends. This is going to be a lot of fun. So sit tight, because yes, it's been cool what's been going on the last few months, but we ain't seen none yet. I am not a financial advisor. You should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. That would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the moon, Lambo.